Hello, Dothack Collectors. Today we have an unboxing for you from Japan. Now you may notice that the box is actually already open. Unfortunately, there was some shipping damages, so I wanted to make sure everything was in not damaged condition on the interior. Two items in particular I was concerned about, and you'll see right here that that's how I received it. So let's go ahead and pull this out and take a look. But yeah, that's how I received it. Alrighty. This is the first item I already pre-opened because I was concerned if it was damaged. And this was the second item I already opened because I was worried if that was damaged too. But the rest should be fine. I have not actually thoroughly checked these, but I did thoroughly check these two. So let's start with these two here. The first is a DVD for promotions. This is Dothack Beyond the World, and it has a few other Bandai Namco properties, but this is a DVD, as you can see. Now the second item here. As you see right here, this is a functional clock, but was it AA battery in there? Set the time, and it only has 4 points: 12, 3, 6, 9. And right here are these little holes for the little standoffs that come included. So that way it just leans back. Let me demonstrate. And that's what you got. Now there's two standoffs, so it has on each side, but you really just need one for it to stay up. And of course, put the AA battery and set your time, and there you go. Next up, this is a t-shirt. This is from Dothack Memories, which I believe was 2010 or 2012. I believe it's 2012 because it was celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Dothack. There was a Blackrose t-shirt, all white, and there was a Haseo shirt that was all black that had a like a hexagon pattern with it. And then this is a plain black shirt. Now, it's not particularly Dothack, but it is CyberConnect 2, so I felt it was kind of in line with Dothack since it's the actual game developers. but I do believe they had a white version with black logo, but this is the black shirt with the white logo. And you may have seen like Hiroshi Matsuyama wearing this shirt in several different events that they've attended over the years. Now this is a Seiichiro Hosokawa book called Rough. But here we have just rough sketches of different designs. Some of them are Dothack, but not all of them. Like here is a kite and Blackrose sketch. Pretty sure it's just Seiichiro Hosokawa designs. I don't necessarily believe they're all Dothack. Or maybe they are. So we have some here for Arcade. Tsukasa. Kite. Haseo. These look to be from Guilty Dragon. This looks like Tsukasa character from Guilty Dragon. And more Guilty Dragon characters. It looks like it was the Blackrose and the Balmon character. Those who don't know, Guilty Dragon was a mobile game that CyberConnect 2 developed. Unfortunately, that mobile game is no longer playable because it was server base required. Okay, so this looks like a Seiichiro Hosokawa pin. Okay, so this is a notepad from Dothack the movie Beyond the World. So here we have Sora, Yuki Sora, and I believe Gondo and Balder. And this was produced by Gendai Online Shop over at GendaiGoods.com back in 2013, somewhere prior to that era. But like I said, it's just a notebook. Gendai Goods had 4 different things. There was this. In our last unboxing video, there was a microfiber cloth in the shape of Makoto, the little flying little AI. The other things I believe were other stationary items. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I didn't think it was going to be that thick. Now, some of these you may have seen in the past that I had. These are Side BN. Side BN is a Bandai Namco magazine. As you'll notice down here, it has a monthly Dothack GU article in their Side BN magazines. Now, these are, I believe these are all free. So you just had to find a participating store that was giving these little magazines away. I'm not sure if it was game stores or bookstores, but wherever these were in Japan, you just swing on by and grab yourself a copy of Side BN and look and see what the latest was on the upcoming Dothack video game. So here we have Dothack GU right here. This is December 2006, volume 9. And it just basically covered some new information that they were giving out in Dothack. And even mentions the other free publication down here, Dothacky. And it looks like that was it for Dothack GU. Everything else in here seems to be other games. And this is interesting. It looks like most magazines in Japan usually go from right to left. Looks like, nope, never mind. This is right to left because the pages are counting in that order. But looks like they have their table of contents in the back like an appendix. But they also show some Dothack merchandise right here. That looks to be the calendar for 2007. And that calendar was huge. It's bigger than this magazine here. So that was Volume 17. Here's Volume 18. And once again, monthly Dothack GU on the top there. So we could just skip ahead and see where that's at. There we go. Monthly Dothack GU, January. Some information about the game. And once again, that mentions Dothacky down here, the website, and the campaign DVD, and also the DVDs that were being released. So that was January 2007. I do believe I have one or two of these magazines. More than likely, it's the ones that have Dothack on the cover. This is February 2007, and it does a full cover of Dothack GU on the front. So, yep, looks like Dothack GU is the first few pages. We have character information here. Some more character information on these pages. It mentions Dothack Radio. That's interesting. I haven't seen that mentioned too often. Some developer notes from Hiroshi Matsuyama. The goods there, I believe, that may have been a clear file. No, not a clear file. A pencil board, I believe, that came with one of the Comtique magazines. And once again, down here it mentions Dothacky, the other free publication. There's some fan art here as well. They show the Dothack GU Welcome Price PS2 edition. The Welcome Price was only available for Volume 1. They didn't have a Volume 2 or Volume 3. Oh, there's a picture of Dothacky right there. If you've never seen the other publication, Dothacky. And that's it. This one is March 2006, and Dothack GU is mentioned right there where my thumb is. So more than likely it's towards the back. Oh, is that really it? The back page just shows Dothack GU out 2006 May. That's it. Was there something in the front maybe? No. Talks about Gundam in the front. Yeah. This issue doesn't have a page for Dothack except that little promotion in the back. Interesting. This is all about Gundam. Which is weird because they say Dothack GU. Oh, that's just the games coming out. Okay, never mind. That's not table of contents. But they do show down here at the bottom PlayStation 2, the best Dothack Volume 1, 2 that came in one case, and Volumes 3 and 4 that came in one case. But other than that, I don't think Dothack is just this promotional art. Interesting. This is April 2006, and Dothack GU is down here at the very bottom in big bold letters. Can't believe I missed that. And here we go. So we have the cover for GU Volume 1. There is a developer notice from, once again, Hiroshi Matsuyama. The Dothack Roots DVD, the ChimChim magazine, Dothack GU The World, and the Dothack GU promotional disc, which if you want to look at that disc, you can find it on archive.org, where I have uploaded that. Oh, here we go. We got some Dothack infection information down here with Dothack Fragment, the online PS2 Dothack game. Then there's those re-releases, the PlayStation The Best for Volumes 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the Dothack signed DVD box. This one right here, it looks like they're advertising that Dothack gift is going to be included. Some Dothack sign information, and that's it. Next up is May 2006. And yeah, it does say Dothack GU right there on the front cover. Here we have this page right here, which shows Haseo and Adelie, the animation team at BeeTrain for Dothack Roots. A little developer notice from Hiroshi Matsuyama again. And then they show Dothacky. It says free paper, which is just a publication. The magazine by ChimChim, which you did have to purchase. It was Dothack GU The World, Volume 3, and that promotional DVD as well. And that's it. Now, this one I know I do have. So I believe I have this one and this one here already in my collection. But this is June 2006. It shows Dothack GU on the cover, Volume 1. And right off the bat, they get right into it and showing the three main characters. Back when Dothack GU was new to us, we saw Haseo, we saw Triage, and we all thought, that was like Kite going rogue. And then we always saw a flashback to Shino, which was the motivation for Haseo. But then we got the new characters here, Pi, Adelie, and Ovan. And some information about Dothack GU. Here's more like the rest of the other issues so far, where we have a notice from Hiroshi Matsuyama, Dothack GU Radio, which is like the little podcast they had back then, talking about Dothack Roots, the animation, and the Silly Go Round soundtrack. Over here we have Dothack GU the World, and the promotional disc. And here they're notifying you that on the promotional disc there is the promotional trailer, the prototype for Dothack GU, which was using the Dothack Infection game engine back then. So if you've never seen the prototype trailer, give that a watch. You can usually find that on YouTube. But basically, back then they were using the Dothack Infection game engine. So this is June 2006, and Dothack is mentioned nowhere that I can see. Well, this is June 2006. So that's well within the promotion time frame. So maybe there is something in here, but just not mentioning that on the front. You know, these magazines are cool and all, and I kind of wish that we got these in the West. But unfortunately, we never got magazines like this in the West. Even better that it was free publication. You can imagine how many people would have gone to the bookstores and video game stores and picked up these little magazines about Dothack GU back in its early days. So here they're showing Dothack GU the World magazine, but they're also showing the trading card game Card Battle. And that's it. Here we have August 2006, and Dothack is not mentioned on the cover again. So let's get looking. So here we go, the monthly Dothack GU. This is volume 5, and it shows the Hiroshi Matsuyama developer notice, the DVD information, as well as some game screenshots for Dothack GU volume 2. And that looks to be it on that one. Alright, I don't believe I have this cover, but this one is October 2006, Dothack GU volume 2. It's on the front cover, so therefore it should be the first few pages. So let's take a look at those. So we have a developer information here by Hiroshi Matsuyama once again. Some Dothack roots information, Dothack GU radio. Apparently there was a fair, that's interesting, down here. I'm guessing this was a book fair of some kind over at one of the retail stores locations. There's Dothack roots and some more information on volume 2, as you can see here. And that's it. Alright, 2 more to go. Alrighty, we have November 2006, and there is a notice up here about monthly Dothack GU. Oh, there it is. So, Dothack GU, Volume 2, Volume 8 of the monthly GU newsletter here. And so they're showing Tokyo Game Show and the Dothack GU radio event. So the Dothack Roots DVDs and a notice from Hiroshi Matsuyama. And that's it. And the last one I have here, now this is not a Seiichiro. I don't recall this on the listing. This is a Famitsu issue. Let's see if there's any Dothack in here. Not sure if I just didn't notice it in the listing when I got this set, but or maybe the seller just threw it in. DS, PSP, Dragon, Shadow Spell. Well, so far nothing Dothack related. Tingle from Legend of Zelda. Nope, nothing Dothack related, so I'm not sure if I just missed this one or the seller just threw it in, but this is a free publication of Famitsu, which is weird because usually Famitsu you have to pay for. Alright, and so that's all those magazines. Now let's get to the big item here. Now those of you who don't know, the animes were mostly produced by BeeTrain. BeeTrain is an animation studio that was widely active in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, when their president, CEO, whomever, retired, the company pretty much went dormant. They never officially filed for bankruptcy, or they never shut down the studio officially. It's just in a dormant state. But anywho, Dothack developers, CyberConnect 2, they love producing game art, info books, things like that, where they show you, the sketches of the characters, different material, world building, and all that. They love to publish that stuff in books. BeeTrain, on the other hand, has not for Dothack. The closest we ever got was the stuff we saw in the Dothack The World magazines by Comtique, Dothack Analysis, and Dothack Encyclopedia, you could also say. Those were all published by Kadokawa, never by BeeTrain directly. So, when we see any setting, setai, or production images from BeeTrain, it's very few and far between. Now, there has been many listings of these. These are not originals. These are reproductions. They're copies of originals. Lately, there's been a lot of originals being sold online, but they're usually sold individually, and the prices get very high. At the time of this video, recently, there was 3 that went up for sale. I believe it was last month, and they got between $100 to $500 in terms of one page for the originals by BeeTrain. Some of them original, some of them said edits on the top. Like, for example, the animation director said, hey, we want you to edit this frame, and it's literally one frame is what you're paying for of the sketches. So, here we have Dothack Sign. These are production settings references that the animation studio had for all of its animators to use as a reference when doing the frames. So here we have the whole cast with Maha, Sora, Bear, Minoru, Tsukasa, BT, Subaru, Silver Knight, and Krim. So this is a height chart, and you can see down at the very bottom line, it is where their heels are, not where their toes are. And it goes all the way up to their heads. Obviously, some people are taller than others because of their hair or horns, and some people are very short. Very short. So when I get a chance, I'm going to probably go down to my public library, put those in their scanners, and scan all these onto a USB, and take that USB and upload all these images to dothack.org, our official website. I have many other scans that I've done before in the past. I've gotten some of these reference sheets for Dothack Legend of the Twilight anime. Once again, anything BeeTrain related, it's few and far between. So we have the height chart there. Here we have a Tsukasa reference sheet. Here is a Mimiru. Gonna have to find a better way of putting these. Let's just move this for now. Here we have Mimiru. Here are different facial close-ups of Tsukasa. Eye, different expressions without the hat and the hat. Here we have Tsukasa with his wand. Now, many people have called this one ludicrous. I do not know if that's the official name, but that is the name that we've pretty much all adopted based off the name from the video games. Close-up of Mimuru's face, of different expressions. Her eye. Here we have Mimuru's blade. Now, this one I've never seen have a name. It's always just been referenced as Mimuru's blade. It is similar to Blackrose's, but the coloring matches the color of her outfit. Here we have Bear. Here is close-up of Bear's face and expressions. Even show his earring, eye, and Bear's sword. Subaru, her wings, her pendant, her hands. Here is a close-up of her face and expressions, as well as her wave mark on her forehead, her eyes, and her axe. She is a heavy axe class, for those of you who were unaware, because there would be scenes where they don't show her holding her axe. Here we have BT. She is a Wave Master. You can tell by the Wave Master wand. This is BT close up. With some facial expressions, her eyes. And I never really realized that she had earrings. Here's everyone's favorite character, Sora, the player killer, who happens to be a twin blade user. Here's front and back shots, side profile shots. So if you ever wanted to draw or cosplay as Sora, this would be some pretty useful information to have. And then we have a close-up of Sora's face and different expressions. This is Krim. Close-up of his face and different expressions. Krim is a long arm user, which are not many characters in the Dothack sign and infection era were long arms, to be honest. Here's a close-up of Sora's blades. Don't remember if Sora's blades had a name, and if it did, I feel like it was something Betrayal. Now, if you've noticed, these blades differ in later iterations of Sora. These are pretty much straight and smooth. The later editions look all curvy and like black. Now, these were like silver color. So I'm not sure why later iterations of Sora has changed. Oh, here we go. This is a controversial character here. Well, this is Tsukasa's father. You know, the guy that beat up physically Tsukasa in the flashbacks, threw away his cat that Tsukasa was trying to save. And even if you don't know, spoilers, might want to skip for a few seconds, Tsukasa's dad literally pulled the plug on his life support when he was in the hospital. And the doctor came in and asked his father, "What are you doing?" And, fought the father to basically plug Tsukasa's life support system back in. And so if you didn't catch that in the anime, you might want to give the anime another watch, see. But yeah, Tsukasa's father, after Tsukasa's mother died, that was a life that no one should ever have. And obviously Bear takes custody of Tsukasa after the anime. Once again, spoilers. But here we have Silver Knight. That last image was a shop NPC. Silver Knight, also known as Ginkan. We have, I believe he's a Blade Master class, which is interesting because all the Crimson Knights are all Blade Masters. Now, they all pretty much look the same except for Silver Knight of the Crimson Knights. Has his glowing red eyes, whereas the other Crimson Knights all have blue eyes. And also Silver Knight here has horns on his helmet. And here we see him without the helmet. We've seen this image before. This one right here with the cow around his head. That was, I believe, in the Dothack the World magazines by Comptique magazine. But here's what a regular Crimson Knight Blade Master would look like. Same as his, but no horns and no red glowing eyes. Their eyes would be blue. Now here's everyone's favorite monster, a Grunty, also known as a Pushy Guso. And then if you don't recognize this character, that's fine. They only show this character once at the very first episode, within the first few minutes. This is a Monsieur from A Spring of Mist. Basically, they are an environmental character that you can randomly find in fields. And if you give them your weapon, they will ask you the phrase. I'm not sure which mythology it came from, whether it was Scottish or Irish. Basically asking you what you threw in the lake. Was it a silver axe or was it a golden axe? And obviously, if you answer silver axe, you get a silver axe. If you answer gold axe, you get a gold axe. But if you say neither, they will take the item you threw in and they will upgrade it for you. Now, the conditions in the video game vary based on the field. If it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, thunderstorming, day, night, the results will be different. And the higher the server you're on, for example, Macanu, Dunloria, Carmina, Gadalika, Fort Oof, and the Foul, depending on the higher the server, the higher the quality the item will be. And the Monsieur has a red variant because the Monsieur is blue colored. The red variant is called Grandpa. Here we have another Grunty, and this is, I believe, an adult-sized Grunty. We have the skull around his neck, the human skull. Here is a close-up of their expressions and their faces, which I don't recall seeing these faces or expressions in the anime. That would have been nice to see some of this. Snout. Now this, we do see, this is a Twilight Onion. Now Twilight Onion is one of the many different Grunty foods you can feed your Grunty, your baby Grunty. When you feed your baby Grunty different various foods, they will grow up, and certain combinations will give you certain different specific Grunties. This is some random background characters from Dothack Sign. Looks like a Blade Master and 2 Wave Masters. I don't know if they have any names. It just says ABC, I'm assuming NPC, maybe? Oh, here we go. This is an interesting one. We have Aura, the daughter of Harold Horwick and Emma Wylant, who was birthed by Morgana to watch over and make sure that she was born. Here we have, they've named her Pucci, short for Pushiguso. She is a Blade Master character, I believe, that Tsukasa ran into one night, and she asked for Tsukasa to take care of her grunty while she is away, and unfortunately, tragedy befell on Tsukasa where the grunty was actually sick, and the character Pucci didn't know. And unfortunately, Tsukasa did his best to save the grunty, but the grunty ended up passing away. Now, the same plot there happened again in Legend of the Twilight anime, except the difference was the character who left Shugo, the grunty, knew that her grunty was sick. Whereas this character, the grunty was fine when Tsukasa was given the grunty, but as soon as the grunty sat on Tsukasa's lap, the grunty smiled and then sneezed, and unfortunately that led to the grunty getting sick. Now this is, I believe they show her in a flashback in one frame, so you kind of have to look for her, but this is Mimiru offline. Just a high school girl living in Tokyo. Now, if you've ever seen Blackrose, Mimiru and Blackrose are about the same age in real life, and they both look alike pretty much in real life as much as they do online. Now, this is Maha. Maha is the cat player. The Crimson Knights are in pursuit of Maha, believing that she is an illegal character that modified her character. But, spoilers, she wasn't. Now, this is a young Tsukasa, and there's Tsukasa's dad again next to Tsukasa there. Now, they really didn't show Tsukasa's face that much in the anime. And this is the cat that Tsukasa found and tried to nurse back to health before her father ultimately took the cat away and probably did something bad with it. This character, who looks like Natsume from Dothack Infection, this character is a 20. A 20, meaning that is her classroom number. So she named herself after her classroom. She is a new character to the game The World. And Mimiru stumbles upon her and helps her learn how to play the game. Now this, I believe, is supposed to be a god statue. The statues you see at the end of a dungeon that are protecting the final chest. Here is another grunty food. It looks like white cherries. Here is a monster from Dothack Sign and also Dothack Infection. I do not remember its name. Here's another monster. Here is the gondola that we see a lot throughout Dothack Sign in the Mackinu server. That you usually see Subaru and Silver Knight on. Here is another monster. Here is the end chest protected by the god statue. Here is a sprite ocarina that lets players leave dungeons and return back to the field where they can log back to the root town from. This is a bug that we keep seeing throughout Dothack Sign. It's usually flying around Tsukasa, and one episode Tsukasa does squish it with the base of their staff. This is the boss room, no, not boss room, but final room of any dungeon where the final chest is, and then the god statue would be floating behind it. And when you open the chest in the games, the statue falls. And there looks to be Tsukasa. This is the tablet that Tsukasa touches in one of the flashbacks. I believe this tablet gave Tsukasa the powers of Morgana. That lets Tsukasa travel to different fields. This looks like a random picture for Toyota for some reason. I'm not sure what this is doing in there, so I'm just going to throw that away. This looks like a door from a dungeon. One of the stone dungeons. You can see Tsukasa down there at the bottom right for a height comparison. This is one of the hallways of the dungeons. Once again, Tsukasa for a height comparison. This looks like... what on earth am I looking at here? So it looks like a bridge of some kind. I just don't know from where. I would say a dungeon, but I don't recall any dungeons that look like that. But there is a Tsukasa silhouette right there for size comparison. Here's some stairs leading to a doorway, possibly from one of the dungeons. This looks like Makanu. This is where the Chaos Gate would be, right there in the center. Once again, when I get the chance, I will get these all scanned in, uploaded to our website for Dothack Network, which is at dothack.org. DOTHAK.org. We have a gallery. If you go to the top of the site, you can find the gallery. And the galleries are broken up by different categories. Go to the production setting material gallery. And I believe I have them broken up by series. So you can find the production art for Dothack Sign, Dothack Liminality, and Dothack Legend of the Twilights. I believe this is Dun Loriog, and you can tell by the flying kites there. This is a wooden bench with Tsukasa standing next to it for size reference. Dun Loriog was a highland city up in the mountains, known for its wheat. Believe it or not, I believe Dun Loriog's export was wheat, which they really don't show in the anime or the games. But there's Tsukasa on one of the wooden bridges that connect the peaks of these mountains together. Yeah, every city in the Dothack the World series and the World video game that they're in, there's a bountiful amount of lore, and seeing pictures like this is pretty awesome because, I mean, you could take a screenshot of an anime, but if you want to get more detailed of what the artists had in mind of what these worlds look like, these production images are the way to go, in my opinion. Because then you can see a bigger world than what you just see in the anime. And I really wish BeeTrain would have done a book of some kind of their production materials, like CyberConnect 2 has done for their video games. You know, just touching back on the history and the making of Dothack in the between 1999 and 2002, because this anime came out in spring 2002. So the production, just like the video game, had a 3-year span there. I mean, obviously the later episodes could have been done throughout 2002, but those first 3 episodes, by the beginning of 2002, they're pretty much wrapped up on. Now, this looks like, I would have to say, a field of some kind with a dying tree, but there's a silhouette Tsukasa there at the bottom. And now this one is a field. I've seen this before. This is a dungeon entrance to a lava dungeon. You can see Tsukasa there on the bottom. Or a fire dungeon. Here is one of the stone dungeons floor layout. Now this is a spot many people have debated where the heck this is. They've seen this many times in the anime, there's a throne. In the video games and the dungeons, there are no thrones. So where the heck is this throne at? Is it in Makanu? Or is it in a stone dungeon? We don't know. I mean, if you could translate this, maybe it might say something. Or this. But Krim, Subaru, and even BT, and I believe Bear maybe in one episode, we've seen him at this area, at this throne room of some kind. And there's a curtain behind it too. It's not a door. That's a door leading up to the stairs of this throne. We don't know where that's at. Here is a flesh dungeon. You can see the spine up there at the top and all the fleshy bits. When the episode airs, we find Tsukasa lying on the floor of a flesh dungeon. And here's a little bit of colored variations, a little shadowing basically of bear close-ups, Tsukasa. These are the same ones that we saw at the beginning. Tsukasa close-ups, Mimuru, and Mimuru close-up. And that is the last I have of these setting materials. Let me know which is your favorite of any of these setting material images that we saw today, or any of the other items such as the ChimChim Clock. The DVD, if it says not for sale, so that means it was a free publication. So I should be within my rights to upload that onto archive.org, so that way you all get to take a look-see at that. But here we have it, ChimChim Clock, the Beyond the World DVD promotion, the CC2 shirt, Mimuru shirt, the side BN issues, the setting materials, the notebook for Beyond the World, and the Seiichiro Hosokawa rough book of all of his rough sketches used for all the promotional materials for Dothack. And then, of course, the Seiichiro Hosokawa pin. Let me know what was your favorite item today, which was your favorite setting material image in the comments below. And hopefully we'll see you again in another unboxing video. And thank you for watching.